All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green-White Checkered TV. Words are hard already to kick off the night. That's never boding well. Tonight here at Talladega Superspeedway, race number 5 of the Area 51 Superspeedway Truck Series. So far it's been 4 for 4 for Gabe Butler. Can someone dethrone that number 1 truck? Otherwise, we might have to rename this thing to the Area 51 Superspeedway Gabe Butler Series. So we'll see if anybody's going to be able to spoil that party. And it's also kind of the Chevy series here as well, Maxwell, because right now in the field here we have all Chevrolets except for one Toyota of Jay Hilliard, one Ford of Dean Wilkinson. So I don't think there's too much brand loyalty, for instance, in Area 51 League than we see like in NASCAR, especially the super speedways. Which is kind of an interesting thing to note here. So going to be fun to see what these guys have in store. Pretty much as we talked about before, the typical strategies tonight going to be that 78 laps. Going to be 2 fast pairs available, 3 attempts of a green-white checkered if needed. But these guys are going to have to watch that fuel mileage to try to make sure they can get to this race under 3 stops tonight. But yeah, I mean, I think the story of the season so far, though, is that number 1 truck of Gabe Butler just been picking them up and putting them down one way or another. So I said, I don't think we've ever seen 4 in a row in an Area 51 series before. So now can he even extend that further to go 5 in a row possibly? He's just been on a tear this season.
Absolutely. We know about Gabe Butler, one of the greatest restrictor plate racers I think I've ever seen on this service. Just fantastic in everything he does, but definitely setting records, Gael, in Area 51. 4 in a row as far as this season goes. Obviously, I'm the guy that likes to bring up last season, seeing him win those last 2, so theoretically I say he's 6 in a row. But for season purposes, definitely 4 in a row is a huge, huge deal. I believe we looked it up earlier, and the biggest record we could find across any Area 51 series was 3 races in a row a couple times in the Premier Series that used to run. But definitely setting records. But, Gael, I've got my eyes on who are the other guys that are going to be making it in these playoffs to compete. We've had so many different drivers running up front and showing speed throughout these races, but kind of getting taken out in the end. So definitely got a lot of different players here. Maybe not getting the finishes they deserve, but definitely got plenty of speed to go after this championship. So really I'm looking at these other 7 drivers that are going to be making the playoffs as we are halfway through our season already, Gael. At least the regular season, that is. So 4 races in, I mean, we've got some big names on the board that we got to start looking at to see who's going to give Gabe Butler a run for the championship.
Yeah, and saying pulling up those points right now, and you're spot on. I mean, and saying we've obviously talked about him pretty much week in and week out is Vicente Guerrero. And I mean, and that's the thing is, while he doesn't have a win, his stats though are very stout. There are 4 top 5s in his 4 starts, and then also Dean Wilkinson right there with 3 top 5s out of his 4 starts and 4 top 10s, and then Bud Steele in 4th there with 3 top 5s and 3 top 10s out of his starts as well. So those are 3 drivers that have had really, really good results. Jay Hilliard has also been really solid with top 10s in all of his starts, who's in 6th position, just hasn't been able to yet crack that top 5 in the points. Then also you got to talk about bonus points as well. Obviously Gabe easily clearing the front there with 23 of them, but go down to Robert Rock in the 5th spot. He has 13 bonus points, a couple more than Vicente, Dean, and Bud, so those bonus points will come into play here over the course of the season. But then of course you can start looking at some of those drivers that had made some big gains, like JD Crow up 4 spots into 9th, so right now just outside the cutoff. But like I said though, we still got, after tonight we'll have 3 more races to get to that final regular season race to make the playoffs. And the one big thing that we haven't talked about yet this season, there will be 1 drop week, so kind of get that 1 mulligan if you maybe missed a race or maybe just had 1 really bad race. That could put you right back into the running for this one. So there's, again, it's not all over with for these guys. If you had that 1 bad race, that one will kind of get wiped clean. So yeah, so right now it's Eric Laurie sitting on the hot seat, but again, there's still lots of racing to go here to finish up the regular season to get into that top 8 for the final 4 race playoff.
Absolutely. Definitely a lot of drivers vying for this championship. It's going to be interesting to see who makes it in, but Definitely going to be a close battle these next 4 races as qualifying has just wrapped up. And Gael, as you get ready to go through this starting grid, we see some familiar names up front here. Some guys that have been fast all season long. So interested to see how this is going to shape up here tonight.
Yeah, saying one of those right at the top of the board there. Kevin Freeze in the 25 by just under 300 of a second over Tom Dixon with Team Extreme. Then you got Vicente Guerrero, David Bond, and Dean Wilkinson, our top 5. Eric Laurie, Jay Hilliard, J.D. Crow. Then you got James Mohan and Robert DuPont rounding out our top 10. And then 11th, you got Derek Walker, Dude Conrad in 12th. Once again here this evening, always good to see Dude on track. Then you got Andy Brigante, and then Gabe Butler to say, you know what, I'm not going to go for pole here. I'm going to start further back tonight in that number 1 truck starting in 14th. Then you got Robert Duvendak, Bob Fitzgerald, Bud Steele, Dan Harrington, Jason Adams, Randy Miner, Robert Jordan, and Guy Bracco will be our 22 starters for this evening's event. And also definitely got to give a shout out to the lug nuts, if you will, the fans of that number 20 of Derek Walker. Always great to see them on here supporting their driver. So he's looking to have a good night tonight as well. Again, mentioned starting in the 11th position. And I think also one of his supporters also kind of serves as his spotter during these races, kind of try to keep. And there's a difference, of course, Maxwell. Haven't talked about that at all. Having a iRacing spotter versus having a live spotter, there's always a little few different things that maybe the live spotter can kind of watch and focus on that maybe your regular iRacing spotter can't do. So always fun to see what kind of strategies those could change, how things could affect the outcomes on those. But what we see here is the field has completely gridded, and we're going to roll off in just a moment. Watch that Mustang pace car start to get rolling, and that will lead our field off around this 2.66 mile tri-oval here, Super Speedway, as there they go to start their warm-up lap.
Absolutely, seeing a lot of guys here qualifying kind of mixed throughout the field. Seeing Gabe Butler going to be starting kind of deep in the field, and you know, we got a chance to talk to him pre-race, I'm sorry, and definitely got to see that he is all about his teammates after these 4 wins in a row. You can't think for a minute that he doesn't want 5 in a row, but definitely 4 in a row going to be an option for them here tonight. So looking to work with teammates, and he's got one starting right there on the front row, Kevin Freeze. So much strength in that 25 machine, but definitely going to have his work cut out for him with those 2 behind him with Tom Dixon and Vicente Guerrero. Looking for one of those 2 drivers to maybe break out and get the win tonight.
Yes, and also you look to his outside, he's got 2 Team Extreme drivers lined up on that outside, the 411 Tom Dixon, the 33 of David Bond, and then not too far back in 9th is that 7 and James Mohan. So watch for those Team Extreme drivers to try to find a way to get hooked up and work their way forward. TW Motorsports, they have a decent group as well in Discord. They got Dean Wilkinson, Jason Adams, Jay Hilliard, and Randy Miner. So that would be another foursome to keep an eye on with that pack over there. Bootknockers kind of split up in 2 little groups right now, so I'm kind of peeking on the Discords. You've got Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, and J.D. Crow. And then you got Duke Conrad, Kevin Freeze working together. Then you got Guy Bracco and the 99 of Robert Duvendak working together here as well, the 69 and the 99, as well as Bad Company with Bud Steele and Robert Jordan in the 74. So they got a couple of drivers kind of split up here. Vicente is still kind of the odd man out. Same thing for Robert DuPont in the 07. He's kind of the odd man out in that 07 truck as well. So we'll see if they can find some friends here tonight. But with that, though, Maxwell, we're running through turn number 4 again. Get to that long tri-oval here, and then we will be underway. Scheduled distance 78 laps, but of course, green white checkers always could come into play. So we'll see what these guys have in store for us tonight with our 22 starters for 78 laps.
Absolutely. We see that pace car is pulling down pit road as we speak. These drivers getting ready to take the green. Such a long way around this start-finish line at Talladega. Not in the tri-oval, but actually on the short chute here as we get ready to go restrictor plate racing. The green is out, and Kevin Freeze gets a commanding lead right here at the start, catching Tom Dixon there sleeping at the start-finish line as this bottom lane rockets down into turn 1.
Yeah, so now you wonder, is this too good of a start for Kevin Freeze? And there's your answer, jumping straight to the top of Vicente Guerrero with help from Dean Wilkinson. And Kevin's going to feel like he just dropped a parachute or an anchor there in that number 25 machine as Vicente and Dean sweep towards the front here on that the outside line back to the inside line. And right now Kevin's just looking for some friends right now. as he's picked up one helper in that 59 there of Jay Hilliard. But now let's keep an eye. And yeah, there goes Kevin. He's waiting to see, maybe try to take the momentum. That's exactly what he's going to do, jump in front of those Team Extreme drivers, as he's going to make a charge to try to lead that outside line once again. And we're going to go 3 wide here to start lap number 1.
Absolutely. A lot of these guys ditching that 14 of Vicente Guerrero, thinking they can get this all-important first lap lead, but it's going to be your pole sitter, Kevin Freeze, getting that first lap lead and that bonus point that can matter so much in making it into these playoffs coming up in just 4 race time here, counting tonight. But don't count out TW, guys. Seeing a couple of those guys up front here really running strong at the get-go. And also look at that 8 of Dude Conrad. We don't see him race very often with us, but definitely showing his strength in that Team Bootknocker Ford, or that Team Bootknocker Chevy. But man, he only runs a part-time schedule, maybe 1 or 2 races a season it seems, but good to see that 8 back out on track with us and looking sharp in that black paint job as he is trying to push Dean Wilkinson up to the front of this field.
Yeah, saying that push he was. You saw Dean get a little squirrely there down the backstretch, that big push he gave Dean. And I think that's going to be enough for Dean to get this lap lead here in that number 55. But yeah, right now, dude, is the highest climber right now. About 8 to 9 spots gained in that number 8 machine. And you also see right behind him that 59 Jay Hilliard. He's jumped up top to start giving some pushing going on there as well. So right now, they kind of settle back into 2x2 right now. I think, again, we'll see that third line form at some point. You see Vicente already actually drop into the apron. Not something, again, you don't really expect to see that from the 14 of Vicente for him to kind of roll to the back. He's usually one of those ones that loves to stay aggressive, kind of stay on the attack, but maybe just saw something that he didn't feel comfortable with. So he's going to roll back, and with good company there. Gabe Butler there back in 21st, and Robert Jordan's cruising shotgun on the field, but still all safely in the draft. While Dean Wilkinson's actually been able to clear the inside line. He takes the point, as now here comes Dude Conrad, though, working that second lane with help from that 59.
Absolutely. You cannot count out this 8 truck. He is so fast when it comes to these restrictor plate races. I myself have learned a thing or two from him when I first got into iRacing and got linked up with these Team Bootknocker guys. I believe Dude's the reason I even got in to begin with, so shout out to him. But definitely knows what he's doing at these plate races. And Dean Wilkinson now pulls off. And that's going to kill momentum to that inside lane, and it's going to give that 8 of Dude Conrad a chance to pull in front of his teammate there in the 25, and that's exactly what he's going to do there in turn 3. Now you've got Kevin Freeze, who we've talked about. He loves to be the pusher in these situations, right? He doesn't want to lead really until the last lap. He gets that lap led, but really he wants to wait and just be a pusher. He's more comfortable there, and I'm sure Dude's not going to mind leading this field around this Talladega Superspeedway. Yeah,
so you can see the third lane starting to form as well there as we were watching it, as we kind of had the view on the crank it up side of things, so we can just listen to these things just blow by at blistering speeds here. That third lane has started to form there for just a moment. It looked like the 20 there of Derek Walker was trying to make that third lane happen. It's kind of fizzled out just a little bit here, but watch for that to reform again here soon. But yeah, like I said, though, those 2 boot knockers, they've got hooked up, and they're a very potent duo to watch. As again, you saw a little bobble there between the 20 and the 59. Just that push got him a little off-centered there. But looks like Derek's got some help from that number 6 of Bud Steele. And then one truck back is his teammate of Dan Harrington. So watch the 20 and the 82. Expect them to work together as well. And then we talked about some of those teammates a little further back, the 99 to 69, Robert Duvendak and Guy Bracco. Just kind of just cruise on the edge of that third lane right now. I think just kind of feeling it out, seeing how it's going to look right here. But right now, though, that inside line is definitely kind of taking control of this race, like you mentioned, with the great pushing from that 8 of Dude Conrad getting that push by Kevin Freeze.
Absolutely. I'll tell you 2 drivers, Gail, that I've really got my eye on in this field right now, and that's the 411 of Tom Dixon and the 7 of James Muhant. Them guys are linked up. We've seen the speed they've had this season, and for being kind of a new coming team in the sport, kind of joined last season about midway through, but running the full season this season in the trucks, these guys have a lot of speed. And I believe that 411 led quite a few laps the last time we were out here. So definitely got a lot of speed in those Team Extreme vehicles there. But I'm watching for that 7 to get clear, and there it is, just what I thought. They're going to try to move up. I don't think the 411 got the memo, but I figured they would try to move up together and make a run on these Team Bootknocker drivers.
And yeah, exactly right. And you were spot on there. Tom Dixon actually last week led the most laps that race in the 411 there. Still got a great result. Obviously not the win he was hoping for, but yeah, leading the most laps in that event. So like you said, they didn't get quite on the same page there on the jump to the top, but again, they might have a little bit different agendas. Maybe the 411 said, you know what, I want to save a little more fuel here early on before I start to push later. But Tom Dixon said, I'm sorry, James Mohan said, you know what, I want to get to the front here. So he's got the help. Once again, it seems like Jay Hillier's been kind of Mr. Pusher so far this evening. Seems like whatever truck he's gotten behind, they've moved their way further forward to the front. And then again, don't forget their teammate, the 33 of David Bond, also in the Team Extreme, working his way up in that Skull truck. So say they're starting to all make some ground here, working towards the top 10 right now, all three in the top 7. But again, still a long ways to go for these guys. And again, I'm sure a lot of these drivers have very different strategies of how they want to approach this race. But right now, that 7 he's got alongside from the number 8. So we'll see, can the duo on the inside, though, keep that momentum pushed on the inside to kind of keep them at bay up top.
Absolutely. And, Gaio, as we kind of get into this stretch where we're kind of about halfway, getting close to halfway through a fuel run, something I wanted to bring up that we haven't really thought about much. We know we added these 3 extra laps in competition, right? And it's changed the fuel strategy dramatically. But you know what kind of drivers that really favors, Gaio? That favors the guys that want to lead. Because I don't think saving fuel is as big of a thing as it was before. There's no crazy, even if you save fuel, you're still pitting the exact same amount of times these other guys are. And it's always tank to tank, right? I mean, they're all getting emptied out. You've got maybe a 2-lap buffer throughout the whole race. So really, these guys leading, it's not a penalty to be up here trying to lead the most laps, trying to do things like it used to be last season even. The guys that would lead a lot, they ended up having to stay on pit road longer and typically didn't find their way to victory lane. Normally it was the guys that hung out in the back the first half of the race that had enough fuel to make it up to the front and make something happen. But since the change in laps, I mean, we have had no, I don't want to say no pit strategy because cautions always bring that, but definitely seeing that these leaders don't have as big a penalty for leading. And I think that's why we've seen more aggressive pushes to the front. And, we used to see comers and goers up in the lead pack, right? But now we're seeing the same players up there and staying up there from the start of the race to the end of the race. So just thought that was kind of interesting as this season has progressed to see that change and to see that, the lap change has really put more emphasis on leading and on being up front.
Yeah, and also just might be the mindset, honestly, of some drivers as well. Like, I mean, I think we've seen before a lot of drivers, especially when we had TW, a lot of them would kind of just cruise mid-pack and just like, all right, we're going to bide our time, and then we would see them work their way up towards the end of these races. But you are right, though, with the 75 laps, it was right on the edge on some series where they could maybe pull a 2-stopper instead of the 3, but they'd have to really commit to it early and often. As you see, Jay Hilliard, he's working the top side here, going to pick up that momentum from the 6 of Bud Steele's almost contact by the 21, the 411. Oh, we got one around the inside there, David Bond. He's going to go through the pit lane exit there. Hopefully it's something that will be able to be cleared, as I think he just got caught up in that incident there of none of his own making here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 33 truck, but unfortunately might risk losing the draft here behind Robert Jordan. And also I think Robert looks like he's good to go on the back of Vicente and Gabe Butler. But yeah, tough break for that 33. So we'll keep an eye and see if he comes in pit road, because if he does, that's probably having to serve that penalty, which again, I feel like that's one thing that should be cleared and could be cleared. But say it's one of those things that's kind of up to the discretion of the admins. They definitely try to have as hands off as they can with things. Just that way, again, try to avoid any risk of thoughts of like preferential treatment, things of that nature. So let's go back and take a look at the 33. He's still staying out, so we'll see if things are able to stay settled.
But regardless, even if he doesn't have that penalty, he's got the penalty all on himself, right? He is losing this pack. And the way these trucks draft, I mean, we know any car around Daytona or Talladega is reliant on the draft. But, man, these trucks have so much drag in them that if you lose the pack, you're losing, like, almost 15 miles an hour. And that makes a huge difference going around this place. It wouldn't take him very long to make it one lap down. But lucky for him, we are coming up. We're a little past halfway in this fuel run. Maybe about 8 more laps till we see these guys pit. But even when he pits, he's just going to have to hope that he can stay on the lead lap, or maybe a caution comes out before then. But these guys have proven that they can run green flag for quite a ways when they get strung out like this.
Yeah, that's gonna be the question. Is how long do they go? Yeah, he's gonna be rooting for a yellow. Unfortunately, never want to be in that position, but unfortunately, that's kind of where he is right now. And was about to mention, looked like Robert Jordan was maybe going to lose the draft, but he was able to hold back on. But yeah, looking at the lap times now as he crosses the line this last time by waiting for that time to update. And yeah, unfortunately, he's a fair bit slower off the pace in that 33. He's already down to 9 seconds off the lead. That's just how fast it's all happening. So we'll keep an eye on him and see how things are going right now. Man, it's getting a little touch and go. So he might be in the best spot because that 21 and the 6 are getting awful close to each other there through 3 and 4. A couple times it looked like the 21 just had a slight bobble there. And you saw Bud have to kind of just react a little bit, kind of drift that truck just up a little higher, slows that outside line's momentum. So these guys are starting to get a little nervous, I feel like, in the center pack here.
Absolutely, this front pack really racing hard. Again, there's not really a penalty for being up here. And this third lane, we know if you get the right... Oh, and there's the contact. Big crash right there into turn 1. A lot of great drivers taken out, and this is a major carnage here, Gael.
Yeah, huge wreck here in turn number 1. You see the 99 up and over there as he's going to try to get going. And you see everybody trying to grab a gear and get rolling here if they can. And we just talked about the 33 of David Bond. And I think he actually just hit pit road at the time of this yellow, so it could have been a perfect break for him. As you see, he's on pit road now. So yeah, we'll see if maybe perfect timing for this caution for him. But yeah, unfortunately, numerous drivers here involved. You see Gabe, I think, able to come through unscathed, but we saw it kind of kicked off. And we just had talked about there, a little nervous about that 21 and the 6, and unfortunately, I think that's where it kicked off, was that the 6 truck, or sorry, the 21 truck got up into the 6. So let's go back and we'll try to take a better look at this one here. As we were focused right on it as it was happening here. So we're going to jump back to the 6 of Bud Steele. So he is that lead truck on the third lane. You can see already, you see the offset between the 7 and the 21. I think the 21 just drifts up a little too much there, gets into the side of the 6 truck, and then at that point he's just along for the ride. And unfortunately, just innocent bystander in that 7 truck of James Mohan. And then yeah, here's the 99, the 14, the 101, the 69. Look at Derek Walker, looks like maybe just gets through there on the apron, then follows along as JD Crow, Eric Laurie down there. Also the 59 of Jay Hilliard. So a number of trucks trying to get down low, but unfortunately you see Jay, though, catches the grass. That upsets his truck. He goes up and around, and then here's the rest of the field trying to find a way through here. I'm watching the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. That gap completely opens up in front, or closes in front of him, I should say. I'm looking at Dan Harrington, able to, looks like he just, everybody wound up to the bottom. He goes top. He's able to sneak on by, and then you see a couple actually going down to the grass here, trying to find an opening. Look at the 24. Thought the bottom was the place to go, and he has to actually move back up top to sneak on by. So really wasn't a lot of safe options here. And you see Gabe Butler, he just came to a stop. It's like, yeah, I'll let you guys get this sorted out, and then I'll start rolling back again. So that does put us under yellow for the first time here, Maxwell, on lap number 14. Everybody on pit road as we speak, trying to get their trucks serviced. And then this will then sort this field out here, because we have a few drivers had to take a tow. Some had to come in early. And then I'm wanting to see where the 33 cycles around with this, because I think he was on pit road. And actually, he's waiting for some drivers to come through so he can hit pit lane here in that 33 truck. So it looks like the winner off pit road will be Kevin Freeze. So we'll let these guys sort things out here for just a moment, and we'll try to figure it out. So we'll step away for just a moment. We'll be back here on the 1 to go, and we'll get this running order squared away. So stay tuned. All right, as you can see, the lights are off of the pace car. Had a lot of drivers topping off on that one to go. So that's going to promote Robert DuPont, Dan Harrington to the front row. So basically, Maxwell, we had 5 trucks said, you know what, we're going to just pit the one time. And then from Tom Dixon on back, these guys all topped off on that one to go here. Because we were just running the numbers, and it is going to be very, very tight. These guys could make it on 2 stops to the end, but they're going to have to pretty much run 21 laps on each tank to get to that magic number. So I think that's why we saw a lot of drivers top off. Unfortunately, some that got caught out by that yellow appear to be, you see right there, Bud Steele 1 down, the 33 also 1 down. Looks like the 21 has retired. Randy Miner in the 101 is 2 down. Robert Duvendak and James Mohan also 2 down, unfortunately. So, and also shout out to Robert Rock, who's rooting on TW Motorsports. Hope you're having a good evening, Robert. Definitely love seeing you on track. Hope to see you back on track again here soon. But Maxwell, we're back to it here. Going to hand it over to that 07. And again, he's got control of this restart. He can go as early or late as he chooses. And with single file, it could really shake out the order here as they get back to green. But looks like he's going to play nice for now as he gets a good restart here. We'll see if he's able to find some teammates, because again, the 07 and the 82 don't really have any official teammates on the disc. Or I'm sorry, no, the 82, I'm sorry, does. I say he's working with the 20 of Derek Walker, so I apologize. However, Robert DuPont kind of off in his zone here, so he's just kind of try to make some friends tonight in that 07.
Absolutely, and I'll be amazed to see how many of these drivers decide to go double file here. With the fuel numbers, the way we calculated, I mean, they can make it and maybe race a little, but you're really going to want to take this first run and try to save every drop of fuel you can. That way, as you get to these later runs, that's when you can be more aggressive. You don't want to be saving fuel at the end of this race. You want to save it right here at the start to get that lap or 2 cushion that you need to really make it to the end. So this caution took everything I said about fuel strategy and threw it out the window. Fuel strategy is everywhere now, and these guys, you're going to see some different races, but definitely getting that middle line built up. They're definitely wanting to race a little bit here at the start, and maybe some of these guys are taking advantage of the fuel save, saying, here's my chance to get a bonus point, here's my chance to get a lap led.
And that's a great point, is the fact that it's like, hey, some of these guys are going to think fuel mileage now to get to the end of the race on 2 stops. So like I said, the pace is probably going to slow down a little bit, so why not push a little bit now, get that lap led, and then maybe decide to drop back if you feel like you need to. As we saw Bob Fitzgerald actually in the 08, he's dropping towards the back here, and actually dropping way back. A little concerned about this right here, the 1 and the 8. This is farther back than I'd like to see them, because they're just at about a second away from Bob Fitzgerald here. That's not as close as I'd like. I'd like to see him a little tighter on the field here, so they don't have to use that field to catch back up. What I do see right now is that 6 truck of Bud Steele. He wants to get his lap back the old-fashioned way there, as he's got help from Derek Walker and the 7 of James Mohan. And then we'll see if maybe then that actually would open up another Lucky Dog spot for the 33. Well, actually, no, I think the 33 may have dropped out of the server here of David Bond, so it actually opens up now for James Mohan in the 7. So, yeah, so if James can push the 6 up front, he would then be in the Lucky Dog spot, so that could be a good break as well. But we actually had one drop, another driver drop to the back here. That's the 69 of Guy Bracco. Not sure what's going on with him, but he is now, I think, going to lose the draft. He's over a second behind Gabe and Dude here, so that's not what he was looking for. I saw him drop to the apron in the trial there, Maxwell. But yeah, he's unfortunately in a tight spot right now in that 69. Again, probably having to hope for a yellow to bring his chances back into this race.
Absolutely. Just think he was trying to let some guys by like the 8 did, but kind of did it in a weird part of the track where he had to run the apron, and sometimes even here at Talladega, trying to run the apron and flooring it is not the greatest idea. The car is really going to unload down there. So keeping it on the banking is where you want to be. But, excuse me, luckily the 1 of Gabe Butler had the 8 there to where they could catch back up to this field. Definitely know what they're doing. I don't know if the 1 maybe dropped back, seeing that the 8 was going to have the same thing happen and just tried to buddy up with him. But we know the 1's agenda tonight. He said he's out there to help his teammates, and that 8 is no exception. Even though he's not probably running for the championship this season, definitely going to try to help him have a good, strong run here tonight. So that 69, though, is falling pretty hard off of this lead pack. Luckily, in the field, we have only 1 driver currently that is a lap down, and that is Bud Steele, unless he is fighting right here to maybe stay on the tail end of the lead lap. So Bud Steele up front in a battle to watch and try to fight for his life here to stay on the lead lap, but he's going to be swapping back and forth between that. But luckily, if he does go a lap down here, he is the lucky dog, because Robert Duvendak on back is at least 2 laps down, and our last 2 entries in the field are currently out of the race.
Yeah, exactly right. You see two TW Motorsports getting locked on together there, the 55 and the 59. And you see Bud Steele drops to the middle. He was finally able to clear the 24 of Jason Adams. And one thing I don't know for sure, obviously, is I can't really go check with my setup here. But Maxwell, I'm wondering, remember we mentioned that 33 of David Bond when the timing of the caution, all of that situated out. I'm wondering if maybe we talked about him going through the pit wall there, or not, sorry, the pit, inside the pit exit cone. Wondering maybe he had a black flag that he had to serve that maybe didn't serve, as we're actually 4 wide here with Bud Steele there. He's just rolling out of it now to let these guys try to cycle out. They're very tight quarters there for a moment. I'm wondering if maybe the 33 wound up getting DQ'd for ignoring the black flag for too long, potentially. Again, this is all speculation, but I say that 33 is no longer on track, unfortunately. So yeah, the 33 and the 21 are officially out of the event, which leaves us 20 drivers still in the race, 16 of which are on the lead lap. And like you mentioned, Maxwell, the 6 of Bud Steele, 1 down. And then James Mohan, Robert Duvendak, and Randy Miner sitting 2 laps down in their respective trucks. So for Bud here, I think he pushed hard. He tried to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. I think now he just tries to find a pocket here and just sit, ride, save fuel, and just keep that truck in a safe spot here once it comes time.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the 6 is admitted defeat here. He's going to go 1 lap down. And contact. There is going to be a crash right in front of him. If he gets contact, he might not be the lucky dog, and he just did get his nose in there, but definitely contact with some of our leaders. Gaio, and another big lick for the 6. Oh, and another. The 6 really getting knocked around here, and I don't know if the 1 got any damage there, if he just really woed up. But definitely contact in the field. And I had been watching that 24 truck. He was kind of bobbing and weaving and moving around in that middle lane a bunch. Not saying he's the cause of the caution, because I did not have my camera focused right there as it came out. But definitely a wreck to see here.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now, and I mean, look how high that truck on the outside is. I'm not sure if that's the 411 or the 7, but you can see there he leaves so much opening here for the 24. Yeah, the 411 there, you have Tom Dixon. And I really think, you leave that much opening there, it's going to be tempting to take it, and it kind of looks, it kind of feels like the 411 just drifts down a little bit, maybe a little bit of net code, unfortunately. Honestly, if I saw that big of a gap, I'd probably try to take it too. And unfortunately, see 2 of the Team Extreme trucks getting caught up in that incident as well. And then Derek Walker almost has it cleared. Then he gets caught. But look at the 5 of JD Crow here. Makes that sharp right. He's just able to sneak by then. That truck's just hanging on. As you also see the 14 of Vicente Guerrero, I think, also able to follow that little path that was opened up. You see a few of these other drivers just trying to find somewhere to go. You mentioned the one of Gabe Butler, so you can see he's right in the thick of the smoke here. We'll keep an eye on him. You see Kevin Freeze pretty much stopped in the background, that truck locking the tires up, trying to avoid it. And I think he just gets by like the 25, the 8. They all just, now they're just kind of tiptoeing their way through here. And then you saw also, Bob Fitzgerald doing a little bit of lawn mowing. He's going to have to talk to that John Deere machine of Eric Laurie, make sure that's allowed to do or not, because Eric might have that market kind of solid on his end. But unfortunately, just tough break there for that 6 of Bud Steele. So that's going to send some drivers onto pit road. And I think that caution, though, after everything that went on there, I think the beneficiary is going to be Robert Duvendak. Looks like who will get that one of his 2 laps back, which will now put him just that 1 down. So a good break for Robert here. We'll double check, obviously, if he gets the wave by. But pretty much we have the field once again here back on pit road, though, Maxwell. So we'll have to recalculate math as well for the fuel mileage. Just want to take a quick peek at Robert here, see if he does swing by that pace car or not. And there he goes. Yep, so that's going to give one of the 2 laps back as the rest of the field here on and off of pit road. And Gabe Butler pulling some strategy here, Maxwell. Roll through the roll through pit lane there, going to take the lead, get that lap led, and then we're going to see that 1 truck duck right back on the pit road to get that bonus point taken care of now, but still be able to pit this next time by.
What a clever idea. When you think he's not pulled out all the tricks, here comes another one, right? I mean, just the man knows too much, I think, about restrictor plate racing. So smart move on his part, but he'll definitely come and top that thing off to where pit road doesn't close on him.
All right, so now, though, Maxwell, now we talked about the fuel mileage being right on the edge. We're going to restart this thing with about 50 laps to go on the dot. I do not think anybody can run 25 laps on these trucks, so I think that's going to still make it a two-stopper to the end. So you kind of have two trains of thought here. Do you want to maybe split this thing in half, pit maybe every, what would that be, every 16 laps or so for the two stops, 16, 17? Or do you run the first one as long as you possibly can and run the second one the shortest pit stop you can, or vice versa, of course? There's definitely now, there's going to be a pretty big window, about, I would say about 5 to 6 to 7 laps of when you could pit to versus when you have to pit. So yeah, this will be interesting to see how the strategies start to unfold on this one, if we see some team strategies unfold as well. But yeah, right now it's still showing 16 on the lead lap here after all that's said and done. Bud Steele, say that truck, I believe, was able to get his fast repair, still sits one down. But like I mentioned, now it has competition from this 99 of Robert Duvendak now to be that lucky dog position.
You know, this puts our race in a very, very interesting set of circumstances here. I expect to see everybody come and top this thing off. And if you don't top this off, then something's wrong, I think, in your strategy here. But definitely a split 50-50 agenda here on who's doing what. But I like these guys coming in and topping off with one to go. Because, one, we're going to restart on lap 28. And we've got a race to lap 78. So if you've got 28, that means the next pit stop would be 48. Next pit stop after that would be 68. And if we're making 20-lap fuel runs and these guys are topping off here, that means that last run they only got to run half of their fuel load, which means if they can only use 1 can of fuel instead of 2, that's going to be the way to go to get that victory tonight. You got to shorten your time on pit road here at the end. But even with that strategy, there is one kink in the armor. If we have a green-white checkered, those guys will need to come get fuel.
And that's going to be the question is, yeah, do you plan to go to lap 78, or do you plan to go to, let's say, lap 82, for instance, something like that? Because, of course, once the caution comes out, if one happens towards the end, then you start to save fuel and you start to get into a better fuel number and so on and so forth. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be a risk versus reward on that pit strategy here, as I believe Robert DuPont will be our leader on this restart. But yeah, like I said, a bit of a mixed bag. Our top 7 opted just to pit the first time. 8th on back opted to go ahead and top off on that one to go. So again, we're going to have a lot of single file racing on this restart on the inside line, but of course they should all get cycled back up pretty nicely here. You see Guy Bracco catching back up to the field, and again, the next thing, of course, is that lucky dog battle right here between that 6 of Bud Steele and then that 99 of Robert Duvendak. These guys are going to be trying to stay in front of each other in case of that yellow, because as we mentioned, unfortunately, that number 6 wound up involved in the incident, which kind of negates his chance of the lucky dog. So we'll see. I'm okay with the drivers that didn't top off there as well. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be enough where there's no question mark that everybody's going to be able to make it on 2 stops. Like you said, the question is, would everybody be able to make it maybe with a 1 can stop? Because like you said, you plug in that second can, it really, really extends your pit stop time by about 3 to 4 seconds. So we'll see what the right choice is here possibly. But again, a yellow is going to change everything. So this is all pending it going green, Maxwell. So we'll see what these guys have here as we're going to restart this race on lap number 28.
Absolutely. The pit car the pit car makes that hard left turn. The pace car, pit car. Listen to me, I am tongue-twisted, Gael. This race has just been so topsy-turvy. Some guys are upside down, some sliding through the grass. But through the Geico restart zone, we see the 07 of Robert DuPont take the green. But Vicente Guerrero with a great run on the outside is actually going to get a run here. Timed that start very well. Got Robert Jordan there in the 74 behind him trying to give a push as this outside lane tries to get organized. But the inside hugging pretty tight coming out of turn 1.
Yeah, I think Vicente just a little quicker through the gears on the initial start, but then again, yeah, the shorter distance prevails. And of course, getting that really good push from Jay Hilliard as well. So now, like I said, now it's the drag race down the back stretch. Everybody starts to build back up to speed here. But right now, it's holding pretty solid here for Robert DuPont. I mean, again, we've been talking about him a lot this season. That car, he's been in Sundays and on Thursdays. He's been up front a lot more lately these past couple seasons. Just hasn't had the breaks he's needed. Had a great break last week, or on Sunday, I believe it was, to be able to actually have a chance. I think I see the 24, Jason Adams, actually having to hit pit road here. Not sure if it's a pit penalty or not for the 24. Also, the 20, Derek Walker hitting pit road. Not sure if these are penalties they're having to serve or what's going on there, but unfortunately, tough breaks for those guys. So unfortunately, that's just going to, again, shrink this field a little bit more up front. So I'll have to keep an eye on those two, because they also could wind up getting trapped a lap down, which would just add 2 more trucks. That Lucky Dog battle between Bud Steele and Robert Duvendak. So say everything's kind of starting to jump around a little bit. So we'll watch them, and I'll keep an eye on them, see when they're in and out of pit road, as it looks like Derek Walker already rolling out of that number 20 pit stall. So it looks like he's going to get going. He'll hold on the lead lap for now. Longer pit stop for that number 24 of Jason Adams, though, still sitting on pit road.
Yeah, something probably going on with that 24. Either had a problem after the pit stop, or maybe having some computer hardware issues having to address there. But definitely taking himself out of the win here tonight, going multiple laps down, sitting on pit road. But this front pack, they're not really trying to save a lot of fuel, as Robert Duvendak really trying to go 3 wide by himself up there in that 3rd lane.
Yeah, this is Robert. He's just trying to find a way to get around Bud Steele, I think, right now, Maxwell, because if you look where Bud is right there on the inside line there in that 6 truck, I should say, about the 4th row in. So I say Robert's trying to find any way to get around that 6, because, again, if there's a yellow, right now Bud's the one that's in that catbird seat, so that 99's trying to get some help and get to the outside here, but nothing yet for that number 99 at the moment. But I say he should have a teammate here soon, and yeah, here he comes in the picture. That number 69 of Guy Bracco sitting in 8th currently. Wouldn't be surprised to see those teammates try to hook up and get that 99 truck in front of that 6 in case of that yellow.
Absolutely. The battle for the Lucky Dog is on. Forgot that the 99 was now back to just 1 lap down. And Bud Steele's got to be kicking himself, right? Had it in the bag, just had to be in a spot where he could avoid the wreck, but he was up in the thick of it in the pack and ended up getting that little car contact, which negates you from getting the Lucky Dog because you're involved with the caution. So definitely now a race to get to the Lucky Dog, and even though there's a lane in the middle of them, they're still side by side, 3 wide, battling for that Lucky Dog, the 6 and the 99. The 6 currently prevails. 99's trying to make moves, just doesn't have the help right now, and some movement in this front pack. We see that 411 of Tom Dixon. He's very smart, restrictor plate racer, but also very, very aggressive. Going to try to make that 2nd lane work, and we've seen if you've got help, especially with someone like Vicente Guerrero on your tail, you can make that outside work and you have some big momentum as we see him side by side with Robert DuPont for the lead.
I say right now we got about a 7-truck breakaway over lead lap drivers, because you have to go back almost a second to Kevin Freeze, Dean Wilkinson, and then you get to the boot knockers as well. Eric Lurie, Gabe Butler, JD Crow, Jude Conrad, and then also Bob Fitzgerald tagged on there as well. So these guys have all fallen off a fair bit here with being led by Kevin.
There's wrecking right now.
Oh yeah, you're right. Caution's out. You can see watching Kevin slow it down, trying to avoid the incident. You see the 99 coming to a stop as well. We'll watch them kind of react to it. There's the 411. Then this is what you want to see. Look at Tom Dixon. He locks the brakes down, waits for the field to clear, then he grabs the gear and gets going around. Great job by Tom there, not to collect additional trucks there. But yeah, unfortunately, caution back out here, Maxwell. So let's go back, because we can see there's a number of drivers here that are just unfortunately smoking down the backstretch. The 69 right there of Guy Bracco is one of those, and there's another one involved as well. Trying to check who that one is. And oh, it's Bud Steele once again. Just cannot buy a break tonight in that 6 truck. Just, this is one of those races you just have to kind of put your head down. You just kind of have to forget it. And also looks like Robert DuPont. So a number of drivers involved. Let's go back here and take a look to see how this all unfolded, because again, it was right at the front of the field, and it looks like it's gonna be right around the 411 and the 07. See if we can get a better angle here. There's a good angle going into turn 3. And just 411, 07 make contact on entry. Not sure if that's just them trying to go for the same real estate, or maybe the 411 was clear for a moment, but then it went away. But you see those two making contact with one another, and then unfortunately out there's Bud Steele, just wrong place, wrong time. The same for the 82. Then you see the 101, the 69. That's where they get collected as well. And yeah, just this has been a tough one for a number of drivers here. And yeah, just to make matters worse, but it almost goes up and over there in that 6 truck. So yeah, so a number of drivers once again caught up in this one. Randy Miner as well, as we mentioned. It looks like the 69 also a little bit of damage for him. So yeah, just very, very, attrition-filled race so far tonight here, Maxwell. As we'll jump back live here, as we can see Robert DuPont rolling back on track. Vicente Guerrero, he's going to lead the field to pit road. And again, we're going to start break our calculators once more as these guys are going to put some fuel in these trucks and then get rolling once more. So we'll kind of see where everybody cycles by, but it does look like Robert Duvendeck, he will get the wave around. He's back on the lead lap. And I think it looks like we've got Jason Adams and James Mohan. They're going to stay out as well, try to get the wave around here on the one to go. So they're going for a little bit of a gamble, not going to pit. They're just going to stay out, try to get that wave around. And actually, looks like Derek Walker potentially might. He looks like he stayed out as well. Remember, he had to make that unscheduled green flag pit stop, so that actually saves him a lap as he stayed out. So he should get a lot of track position, but will be a little bit off sequence on fuel.
Absolutely, and Gael, something to think about. We're not even to the halfway point of this race yet. We've still got a few laps till we hit the halfway point, and we've got some guys that have already burned through their fast repair and are now either having to get extensive repairs done on pit road or possibly going to be out of the race now because of some of that contact. So definitely not the night for the 6 of Bud Steele. Was fighting hard, but just in the wrong place at the wrong time for it seems like all his incidences. And, back to the caution, the 411 just made a late move there, I believe. Just wanted to clear, but the closing rate on these trucks is really fast. You've got to make that move quickly when you hear clear, or else that draft's going to pick them right back up and get them sucked up underneath you. So this caution definitely changes things. Gael, we need to crunch some numbers, I believe.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. And the thing that you mentioned that I think you hit the nail on the head right there is you need to make the move quickly. It kind of works in two ways. One, of course, you make that move, if you kind of just drift down, like I said, it kind of, if the inside line gets that push, it kind of, like I said, it'll be exactly what we saw there. They make contact entering the turn. So if you make that move, you clear them quickly, and then you're able to keep on going. The other thing it does is, again, you make that slow kind of drift move down to the bottom. Whoever's pushing you might try to follow that move as well, whereas you make a quick, abrupt move, they won't have time to do that reaction. And yeah, here you go, Kevin Freeze on back. Looks like these guys all topping off because I did the math here, Maxwell. I think the magic number here, they can potentially make this on one stop here with them restarting on lap number 36. That means they need to go 21 laps per tank on this restart here, and I think 21, 22 laps definitely doable. So these guys that are pitting here, that pitted at 33, I think have a chance to do it. Derek Walker, unfortunately, I think with him not pitting, that's going to trap him to still be in the two-stopper without a caution. So yeah, so I think this is going to be, we're back into that fuel mileage race here. As you can see, there's Vicente already rolling the apron. I think he knows exactly what he's got in store for him here on this next restart.
Yeah, this early in the race, I would not be worried about track position before the halfway point. If I knew I could do something for fuel to be able to make it on just one more stop, even possibly, I would be going for that. And I guarantee you these guys coming out of the pits are clutching, just coasting up to this pack, shutting those engines off. Gael, I'm not going to lie. I mean, we've seen these guys run 20 laps, and by the time they make it to 21, it's been a amazing feat to try to even see them get back to pit road. So these guys are going to be in massive fuel save, not only this run, but possibly even the last run of the race, just to make sure they can get there. So these drivers that did pit with the one to go, they're not going to be able to be aggressive really until the last lap. They're going to have to save as much fuel as humanly possible and use every trick they have, where these other guys, they're just going to race hard, try to rack up the laps led, try to get the most laps led, get those bonus points, and they're hoping just for another yellow that forces everyone's hand to come down pit road yet again and put them all back on the same strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And we're watching Kevin Freeze right now. You see the tachometer, then you see it disappear. When it disappears, he is shutting that motor off because these trucks idle around 2,000 RPM, which you can just see at the edge of the tack. So he's just giving it a little bit of gas, shutting that motor off, letting it coast. Then you'll fire it back up, grab another little bit of throttle, then you'll shut it right back off again. So Kevin Freeze definitely saving fuel in that number 25 machine. We saw Vicente rolling the apron a little bit as well. And so we got it all shaken up here, though, again, Maxwell. And you look at this. You have two trucks on the front row, one on the outside, everybody else single file. And then you also have Randy Miner in the one-to-one, who's a couple laps down, sitting, kind of restarting essentially fourth right here. So that's just how shaken up this thing has been with all these drivers topping off. So Vicente, he has an option here. He could jump early. Again, that would force all these guys into catch-up mode. But again, looks like he's going to wait for that green flag to fly as he does. And we are back underway, lap number 36 of 78. And now it's all about fuel mileage here. If we stay green, it's going to be who can make it on one more stop and make it to the end without troubles. And right now you can see everybody's starting to you got pretty much a train right now. So you kind of got that DL Junior line. And look at this. Vicente doesn't want to lead even. He's like, you know what? You guys go on right on by. You lead these laps. As Derek Walker now going to take the point. But again, he's kind of become the sacrificial lamb right now in that 20.
Absolutely. So a lot of these guys are about to string out, I believe, single file. And as I say that, I see guys moving to this outer lane. But a lot of these guys moving to this outer lane are just guys that are trying to probably just get out of the checkup zone where everybody's checking up really hard in that bottom lane. But watching TW try to gang up here together, but also watching some of these guys that might be a lap down or so kind of get into that outside lane. As we see another one duck off, and are they
a few more coming in? Yeah, the 101
here maybe.
No, I think these are probably penalties. I would think by the 101, the 07, the 08, because to me it makes no sense to hit pit road there. But what's happened out of all of this is look back up front's Vicente once more. So he had to lead comfortably. He went up top and they blew on by him, and then he just picked up the draft and got right back into it. So we'll keep an eye on those drivers though that did hit pit road. Robert Dupont, Bob Fitzgerald, and Randy Miner, they still are on pit road here. So I'm thinking, again, unfortunately, possibly a pit road penalty. Oh, it was a 14 and 20, just that aggressive push here. But right now, Dean Wilkinson, he's staying committed to his teammate there in the 59. I think trying to keep him, wait for them to both clear, and then probably try to drop down in that 55. So, yeah, I think now it's just that race within a race. Because look how far back Kevin Freeze has dropped. He's about a second back off these guys. And that's the risk here. What's the strategy? What do you want to do? As you see actually one down on the apron for a moment there. I think that was a 14. Because if they fall back too far here, Maxwell, they're going to lose this draft. And then now it's basically Kevin almost leading that second pack. And he's going to be the one kind of burning all the extra fuel. And at this point, yeah, he has lost this pack here. So we've got two packs here. I think we've got the fuel-saving pack. And we've got these guys that just said, you know what? I just want to run this our normal pace. So this is going to be, if we stay green, this is going to be very, very intriguing. And do need to mention those drivers that hit pit road are back out on track. The 07, the 08, and the 101. About 30-second pit stop, so I think, yeah, unfortunately, another pit penalty for those guys. Not sure for what, though.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm questioning why the 25 even fell off this pack as hard as he did, because those guys in the back may be trying to, quote-unquote, save fuel, but they're not really in a pack to be able to lift a whole lot. They're kind of separated 2 by 2 by 2 just a little bit. I know that pack in the very, very back is now 4 cars, but still, compared to this big pack where Vicente Guerrero's at, I would think he could save more fuel riding there than they are in the back. So definitely interesting to see how they've split up like that. They must be pretty confident in their fuel numbers and pretty confident these trucks are going to wreck again. But just look how thinned out our field is now, Gael. Look how the pack is just so small. It's going to make this race coming down to the end very interesting, though, because one, you don't have near as many trucks to have big runs and help, so you're really going to have to focus on your pushes and getting your line organized compared to the other. And also, the fuel number. I mean, without as many trucks on track, you don't have as big of a draft, as big of a pool. You're not going to be able to save as much fuel. So definitely going to be something we have to watch as this shakes out. But definitely, and a bad bump by the 24 gets to 7, all sorts of jacked up. Luckily, he saves it, though. That could have been yet another yellow for us, but these truckers are also going to have to watch that as they try to make these lines work and they try to really push hard. We got to remember that you can easily lift the rear ends of these trucks up, especially on these straightaways. So even if you're bumping square on their bumper, you can still get those rear tires lifted up and cause a big melee.
Yeah, and that's the thing is these things on, like you said, even if you're centered, it still can do it. So yeah, you got to be pretty much like right on cue. And I'm saying again, these are drivers that haven't maybe raced with each other very much before the 7, the 24, and then you got the 411. He's kind of in between a Team Extreme sandwich as they run here. And still watching Kevin Freeze and them. They caught back up to a fair bit, but then they dropped back once again here. So I'm not sure on the strategy. Like I said, I would like to be right now. I love right here. Robert Duvendak, Robert Jordan. They're in a good spot here. They're in the main pack. They're just rolling just far enough off of it to kind of keep their trucks safe and save fuel. And because I feel like for Kevin and these guys, if they want to try to catch this pack again, they're going to burn more fuel doing what they're doing here. Is actually you see Kevin jumping to the top, I think, to try to let Eric Laurie on by. And just, I don't know, to me, just doesn't look like the normal organization that we're used to seeing out of the Bootknockers here. I'm not sure if it's because of the fuel mileage or what's going on there. Maybe Kevin's saying, hey, I'm actually burning too much fuel right now. I got to let someone else lead. But again, all of them are teammates right now. So this is very interesting. Not what I would have expected there. Like I said, I would expect them to be right here where that 99 and the 74 are, just kind of cruising and saving. So we'll see. I mean, now it's all about, again, this is all pending it's staying green. If these guys can get to about 21, 22 to go before they hit pit road, then they feel a lot better about that fuel mileage. But I just wonder how tight they're cutting it, the way they're kind of running about that full second back.
Absolutely. You know what I'm thinking to myself right now, Gael? I'm thinking, how are these guys going to make me and you look like fools up here whenever they come out and take the top 5 at the end of this? We've seen this before, right? We've questioned some tactics of the Team Bootknocker guys. We've questioned how they make this work or how they're having to play catch-up in a race. This almost feels like deja vu to me, and I'm pretty sure that ended up with Gabe Butler winning the race and probably some teammates finishing up there in the top 3 with him. So definitely not going to say they're out of it until the very last lap. But it is interesting to see if they're going to burn some extra fuel here. But this front pack running side by side, they could be burning just as much. And we know a lot of these guys up here are for sure on the 2-top. I am tongue twisted now, Gail. The 2-stop strategy. So definitely got to see how this one shakes out. And Gail, I'm kind of glad I'm up here in the booth and being down there in their shoes, because I really don't know which one's going to end up prevailing here.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in when you're trying to run the fuel numbers and race at the same time and try to do a little bit of everything. But the one that I like the most is Robert Duvendak. He's right here at the back. Like you said, you kind of have that accordion, but he's able to just, like I said, the accordion lets you save extra fuel, so I like that. And I'm actually a little surprised here. You see the two teammates actually start to split up with each other, Jay Hilliard and Dean Wilkinson. I think this is a planned attempted swap here. I think the 55 trying to let the 59 by. But right now the pace just hasn't been able to push hard enough. You see the 24 is going to jump to the top here. I think he's going to try to drop back. And with all that's happened, that has finally promoted the rest of those boot knockers. They're back to the field here. Just have to wonder again how much fuel they burn in doing all of that. So that's my concern for those guys. But like I said, they're pretty on top of these things usually. So, but yeah, I really like Robert Duvendak right now. He topped off on the one to go. He's been just cruising right now in this bottom lane here, running the shorter distance. Probably running part throttle, just not having to kind of fully push that truck as much as he needs to. And so, yeah, so I think he will be good on the fuel numbers. Again, all based on things going green. But right now you can see we've kind of got that single file train look going just again here. But the 59 Jay Hilliard trying to find an opening, but no one willing to let him in because, again, they don't want to try to drop back too far. And I'm also watching Jude Conrad. He's just been kind of running this third lane on his own. I'm not sure why he's kind of just doing his own thing. You'd think the same thing. He'd be wanting to run the bottom, stay in the draft, save some fuel. So a little confused by some of the tactics here. But I say maybe he just decided, you know what, I just want to do my own thing right now and just run that top side. So we'd have to ask if we get the opportunity why the top side here.
Which I remember, in my time running with Team Bootknocker Esports, sometimes we'd split the team in half. Half of us would do one thing and half of us would do another. And we would have guys at the front of the pack. We'd have guys at the back of the pack. We'd have guys in the third lane, guys just chilling on the bottom lane. And in the end, we all came together. But definitely not going to question what they're doing. Dude could have easily been trying to just get some fresh air, trying not to handle all the checkups. I know a lot of drivers get very aggravated when that accordion effect starts to happen, so definitely could have been just looking out for that there. But this front pack, we're noticing now they're starting to get organized. And Gael, with all the cautions, I'm kind of at the point I can't remember what lap it's supposed to be that we're supposed to start pit stops here. So everything's been so mixed up with the yellows that I'm gonna have to dig unless you've already got this number of when we expect to see these guys on pit road, because they're getting single file as if it's going to be coming in the next few laps.
No, I think this is just fuel savings to try to make it to the end. They all pitted around 33, 34. I say, like I said, the odd one out, unfortunately, are actually two drivers odd ones out. Jason Adams at 28, as also is Derek Walker at 28. So I think they're forced to do two stop to the end. And then, yeah, so basically these guys right now are on 46, so they've gone about 12 laps here since they last pitted. So I think they try to go again probably another 10 to 12 laps here to get to, again, I think that magic number is about 20, 21 to go. They feel probably pretty safe about that fuel number to the end. So, but yeah, right now, though, the 24 is trying to push that 59 back to the front here with just the two of them. And so, yeah, so I mean, again, like I talked about, I feel like these guys up front are probably burning their stuff up more than they should, more than they need to. Again, I really like right now where that 99 sits, but again, it's going to depend on help. But right now, that push up front, though, these guys are getting pretty aggressive trying to get Jay Hilliard to the front here. And I don't think that the two of them will clear Dean Wilkinson, which is going to probably wind up forcing Jason Adams to have a long, slow drop to the back. Because actually, here's the 7 on pit road here, James Mohan. And actually, yeah, he pit on lap 22. This is expected, and he's going to bring Derek Walker with him. I think Derek said, you know what, I'm just going to try to find somebody to pit with here. So I like the strategy not to pit by yourself as the 7 and 20 hitting pit road. Again, this pretty much cements them having to make a 2-stop to the end. And there's our answer there. 59 in front now, and there goes a 24 straight to the back here. Did his job, I think. Now he's going to go back to fuel save mode in that 24.
Absolutely, but correct me if I'm wrong, that 24 cannot stay out as long as some of these other drivers either, because he took some waiver rounds, am I correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, he last pitted at lap number 28 for Jason Adams, so he is in a similar boat as we just saw for the number 20 of Derek Walker, who's already down and away from pit road. And trying to see, did Derek wind up with his friend? Yep, there they are. They're going to come out together, and that's why Derek, I think, decided to pit there. Said, hey, I got to pit with somebody, so let's do it here and get it over with early. But yeah, I don't see anybody else pitting for, again, another, I'd say, again, to me, if you can go about 9-10 more laps here, that's going to be the magic number. So you see on the ticker there, we're crossing lap number 49 now, which brings us to 30 to go on the dot here. So once we get to lap 59, that's when I want to see drivers who can safely make it will hit pit road, but I think we will see some probably around lap number 57, 58 most likely, which just means they're going to have to save even more on this final stint to the end if we stay green.
With this smaller pack and some of these guys having to play catch-ups and some others having to lead this thing, I'm really starting to question if even any of these guys are going to be able to make it that far. I guess only the counting laps are going to be able to tell, but folks, I promise you are missing none of the action here as we kind of just chatter about, because this whole field is now single file running the bottom, just trying to save fuel any way they can, trying to lift, trying to get with their buddies to get ready to make a run down pit road, because this pit stop is going to be very crucial, because for some, it could be the last.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, need to mention, Jason Adams just did hit pit road. Something stuck in my throat, I'm sorry. But I'm looking at the lap times right now, Maxwell. They're running low 52s. Right now you see the last lap time over on the left-hand screen. I'm going to switch it now over to their best time, and look how much quicker it is. They're running about a second and a half slower than what their normal pace is in these trucks. So even the leaders, they've backed their pace down to try to, even as the leader, to try to save that field to make it to the end here. So that's why you're seeing this train right now on the inside line. Nobody wants to be the one to lead right now. Like I said, I feel like right now Jay Hilliard, he's kind of been the one, okay, all right, I'm going to take the hit for Dean here. Let Dean save some fuel, as Dean was leading for a while. And then the rest of these guys are just like, yep, you go on right ahead here. I'm just going to save every drop of fuel I can with these guys. And then also need to mention, though, for Jason Adams, he's rolling off a pit road here on the backstretch. And say, here comes Derek Walker and the 7 of James Mohan. So that's going to turn this group into a 3-truck pack. Again, just going to help their speed out a little bit to minimize their time loss to the field here. So that's what they're hoping to do, as well as here's the field here down the backstretch. So right now, Maxwell, we got 12 trucks still in contention for this win as they run. Now it's all about the fuel mileage again. So we've got 2 trucks that did not top off, Vicente Guerrero and Robert Jordan. Everybody else pitted at lap 34, that one lap later, get that just that little bit of extra fuel in here. So, but again, I feel like these 2 TW trucks have done a lot of leading here over this course of this run. So that's going to be, I think, they're going to be the first 2 I think we see hit pit road. Then we'll see who's next in line.
Absolutely. These truckers just kind of rolling this bottom line, biding their time. And, I mean, these guys know what they're doing, right? They have been in these situations before. They drove in these trucks multiple seasons here. But these guys are just saving fuel as much as they can, every ounce, every drop. Wouldn't even shock me if some guys might even be tapping that clutch just a little bit to let it roll for just a second. And believe it or not, that does save quite a bit more fuel when you're able to do that. So as these guys are running just single file, Guile on my end, I've just got these crank it up cameras going, and man, just able to see the raw speed here before these pit stops of these guys just in a line, hearing these engines roar down these straightaways. Man, these things are fast.
Yeah, and that's with them running a slower pace here, but we can do all the running single file. Let's run through the field here, get a better look at the cars, the trucks, I should say, the paint schemes, and kind of go through the field for that top 14 or so, or top 12, I should say. So right now you see Jay Hilliard right now, our leader, +6 from his starting position. Dean Wilkinson in second here, +3. Then you have Vicente Guerrero sitting in third, right where he qualified in that number 14 truck. And then right now, +17 from his starting position is Robert Jordan in that number 74 truck. So unfortunately, you can't see the 74 numbers on there. It looks like kind of hidden in with the paint there. Then you got Tom Dixon right now sitting in the 5th position, 3 spots behind from where he started there, currently in 5th. Then again, Robert Duvendak, he's the one that I'm really going to be keeping a close eye on over the cycle here in that 99 truck, sitting in 6th. And then you got Eric Laurie right there leading the boot knockers there in 7th. And then here they all come. You got J.D. Crow sitting there in 8th where he qualified. Kevin Fries, our pole sitter, in 9th. And then you got Dude Conrad in that number 8 in the 10th spot. Gabe Butler, our 4 race in a row winner there in 11th in that number 1 truck. And then Dan Harrington right now following that pack in the 12th position in that number 82. And then those that had to pit earlier who are still on the lead lap but way off the leaders. You got 20 of Derek Walker right there, the number 24 of Jason Adams. And then we got the lucky dog battle right now between these guys is Robert DuPont and Bob Fitzgerald. But right now they have to work together there. They have no choice. They're just going to have to stay together here. And as I said, for Bob, he's kind of hoping, or sorry, for Robert, he's hoping that he gets that caution. As actually, I think we've got, yeah, here we go. Some coming to pit road, 25 to go. Way too soon, Maxwell, to make it to the end. This answers the question for these 3 drivers. They cannot make it to the end on fuel. So now the question is, what do the rest of the field have in store for our fuel mileage, starting with Vicente Guerrero now?
Absolutely. These guys are going to make 2 stops. We talked about it. They've been leading this pack. Know for sure that's what they're going to be doing. But now it's time to really start watching these packs. With 24 laps to go, this is crunch time. This is what I've been waiting to see. Gael, you are confident about the fuel number on some of these guys. And believe it or not, I don't know. I'm not sold yet because of how these guys had to run at the beginning of the run. So they might have saved a ton here, but this is not really that big of a pack to be saving a lot of fuel. So that's really what concerns me here. But here we see the 14 and the 411 coming in. They cannot make any more laps here. They're going to have to make another stop as well.
Yep, so 23 to go.
See that strategy, yeah.
So I think right now, if I'm Robert Duvendak, this is a position I do not want to be in. I don't want to be the leader right now. And the thing is, you're pretty much surrounded by teammates here with Eric Laurie, J.D. Crow, Kevin Fries, Dude Conrad, Gabe Butler. Like I said, you got Dan Harrington, who's just kind of tagged onto the back of these guys, and I love this from Dan here. I say he's kind of, all right, I'm going to work with these guys because, one, he kind of got forced in that situation with that incident that he got caught up in. But then he said, you know what? These guys usually have ideas on these ones, so we'll watch him. But yeah, right now though, I think Robert Duvendak, this is probably going to start burning that little bit of extra fuel that he's wanting to keep in that 99 truck here. So I watch right now. This is going to be the big question. Does he tuck left here? Because I don't want him to, but here he comes. Actually, here they all come, and it looks like nobody's going to stay out to run the extra lap here. So Maxwell, this is tight, man. This is 22 laps here. They're all in now. They all pitted. We mentioned it again. I think it was, well, actually, I don't even see the number, unfortunately, when they last pitted here. So I don't know. This is a guessing game for me now. These guys pitting with 22 to go. I was confident. There's no more confidence left in me here in the booth. So this is going to be very fun to see what's going to be the winning strategy here. Again, all based on things staying green as they run.
Absolutely, and that was my concern, right? I told you were pretty confident. I was a little shaky on it, just knowing how much smaller the pack was. When the pack is smaller, it takes more fuel to burn to keep up with that pack when you don't have as big of a pool. So, and you're going to see they're about to lose a lot of time to Dean Wilkinson here and the 59 of Jay Hilliard. They are going to get a commanding lead over this pack. And honestly, everybody's got to pit one more time. I would run in tandem as much as I could and try to pull away with this other pack and see if you can split this into 2 different race packs and see if you can keep those Team Boot Knocker guys off into that second pack. If you can keep them behind and make some speed here, you could really pull something off maybe toward the end if this continues to stay green.
And that's exactly it. I mean, right now there's no guarantees. Look at Derek Walker; he gets a huge run here, but no help, unfortunately, from that number 20. But again, I thought that the 20 and the 24, I thought their race was over. Here they come. They've actually gotten right back to lead pack. Unfortunately for Derek, like I said, he kind of lost his partner there, thinking he could get to the front there in that 20. But you're right though, because right now these top 6 trucks in this lead pack, they have a 4-second gap over all these boot knockers, and as well as the 99 and the number 82 of Dan Harrington. So if everybody has to pit one more time, even if it's just a splash of fuel, 4 seconds can make a big difference. And now here's the next question here, Maxwell. Now you've got basically almost 20 laps, maybe about 15 laps now at this point, where they can decide, hey, let's watch our race pace here. Are we faster than boot knockers? Are we slower than the boot knockers? If we're faster, let's stay out. Let's keep staying out. Let's make some big laps. If we're slower than them, do we pit once we're in our window and just short pit, get that pit stop over with early? But again, it's just that risk versus reward, because if one person messes up the pit stop, then you might have less trucks to work with at the end. So I think now the question, probably not this time, but next time by, I want to watch lap times, because I think that's going to be a telltale to see what is the right decision here as we get down to it, because now it's all about strategy.
Absolutely, and this lead pack seems to be gaining quite a bit of time on this second pack. This second pack, pretty organized, pretty straight line, but so is this front one. But I'm watching the ticker, and they are just pulling 10th by 10th by 10th as they go throughout a lap. Now up to a 6-second gap to Eric Laurie back in 7th place from the leaders there, and already 6 1/4 seconds. I mean, they are pulling big time. I would probably run maybe one more lap, and if I'm that lead pack, I'd go ahead and come get that pit stop out of the way. That way I've got that cushion. Even if the pit stop doesn't go so well, I've got a 6-second cushion, right? And then I can pull away and try to make it work from there. But definitely going to be interesting to see how these guys play it out. But Team Bootknocker, I don't think, has a choice but to try to come in as early as possible to make sure they can make it to the end. But looks like they're still staying out here just a little bit. So I don't know what their strategy is at this point after all these cautions. This has definitely changed the complexion of this race, and now it's a tale of 2 packs, if you will.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It is a tale of 2 packs, because you got 1st through 6th in the first pack, and then you got 7th through 12th, or sorry, 7th through 13th in the second pack. So, yeah, very, very mixed bag. And right now, you don't see a lot of urgency though from these guys. You can see they're all about a truck length or so off of one another. So there's no big urgency for pushing. So I'm wondering right now if they're saying, you know what? I think maybe they are going to say, we're going to try to go 22 laps to make it to the end. Here's what we're going to do, actually. Let's pull up our fuel mileage for these drivers to try to see when they last pitted and get some info on the last pit stop here. And say we're going to start with Robert Duvendak and actually look at these. I'm looking at these last 2 trucks at the bottom there, Maxwell. 34 to 56. That is 22 laps, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they came to pit road with 22 laps to go. I think those trucks could be on fumes at the end, but right now I think that's the strategy. I think these guys are saying, you know what, we're going to commit to that pit stop, or that one stop. We're going to try to make it to the end. Again, these guys, their pace they're running, they're going to have to come in. But now, are they gaining enough time where maybe even if they take a splash fuel, could they catch back up to these guys? Because again, they're not going to need a long pit stop. It's going to be a couple seconds of fuel, and then they can jump out and get going again. So, because it's up to 10 seconds right now between Eric Laurie, now Robert Duvendak. And again, yeah, there's what I was going to say. Nobody's going to want to lead, so these guys are going to slow down even more here, Maxwell. Because last time by, they were in the 54-second bracket. The leaders are in the 52-second bracket. I think these guys are just fighting too much. I think it's gonna wind up costing them, because I think even with a pit stop now, these lead pack drivers, if they stay committed to each other like they are, they could actually come right back up into the mix with the boot knockers here.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I am amazed seeing this front pack pull the gap that they are over Team Bootknocker. I mean, those guys are some of the best in the business that we've watched eliminate a 3 or 4 second gap, right? And they are now almost 11 and a half seconds back with 17 to go. That is a big gap, with all of them still needing to pit under green. That's just giving this front pack more and more ammunition to make their pit stops work out here. But, you know, I'm almost wondering, and I don't have confidence in it at all. I'm talking 10% or less, but I have been fooled before. Do you think that second pack is purposely running a slower lap time to attempt to maybe make it to the end. I don't think so, but it could be possible. I mean, that's an awful big amount of time to be losing to that second pack, or I mean to that first pack.
I know. I think that's actually exactly what's happening. I think these guys are back on their pace. All of this last time by, they picked up by a bunch here. They ran a 50.72 for JD Crow to, 53.07. I'm looking at their best lap, not their last lap. But they have picked up the pace because they're running the 54-second brackets. But the problem is, for this strategy to work, someone's going to have to be the one to take the hit for the team. So right now, let's say we saw for a little while it's Eric Laurie, then we saw Robert Duvendak say, "I don't want to be any part of this. You guys go on by. I'm going to jump to the top two." And then so JD Crow kind of, it looks like he's kind of just saying, "All right, fine, I'll do it." But yeah, I mean, the pace has definitely increased. So they're still slower than the lead pack of 52.80 this time to a 52.26, but it's not 2 seconds a lap slower. And again, I wonder if that's something they realize, like, hey, if we slow down too much here, those leaders are going to wind up kind of catching us and passing us once again, because like you said, it's 12 seconds here. Do need to mention the pit lane time last time by was about 38 to 40 second range for the leaders, but that's with an absolute full tank of fuel. So I mean, if you take about, I mean, let's say safely you could probably bring it down to about 30 seconds on the pit stop. That would kind of net lose these leaders probably, let's say, about from being about 13 seconds ahead now, that would drop them down to about another 15 or so seconds behind the second pack. So they could do that over this. If they continue this like 2 to 3 second lap slower, the lead pack could catch back up to these guys here, even if they stay out. So I don't know. It's all kind of hearsay until we see the pit stops happen. But right now, the dedication with these guys, though, they're saying, you know what, we've got our strategy, we're going to stick with it. And I think that's what we're seeing from that second pack as well. Said, all right, we got our strategy, we got to stick with it too. But again, someone's going to have to be that sacrificial lamb right now, and it's gone, unfortunately, back to that John Deere truck of Eric Laurie.
Absolutely, and we've got to remember, too, that 24 of Jason Adams, and forgive me for not remembering, but there should be one other driver. Derek Walker, yeah, they are going to have to pit a lot sooner than the rest of these guys in that front pack. And then maybe they'll start to lose some of their speed, and that Team Bootknocker pack will catch back up, but at 15 seconds off of the lead pack. This is just, Kyle, I've seen some strategy races before, but I don't think in Super Speedway Truck Series here at Area 51 I've quite seen a fuel strategy quite like this one. It's really hard to get a read on whether this front pack is just that much more organized and faster, or if this second pack is really trying to save something. You wouldn't think those Team Bootknocker guys would have fell off that hard and been that slow, especially when we've seen just a group of 4 of them make some of the best lap times in the field before. So,
yeah,
just interesting to see all this play out. And Gael, at this point, I got to say, I'm almost just a spectator here at this point, trying to bite my nails and see what happens here.
Yeah, and it's exactly, I think they've said, you know what, we're committing to making it to the end here, and it's one of those, they made their bed, they're gonna lie in it. Basically, it's where things are at. And saying Seth actually is spot on here. Say Seth Groover, one of our really good super speedway drivers, he is saying that basically, yeah, Bootknocker needs a dummy, and they don't have one. They just don't have that person that says, I'll do it, I'll be your drafter kind of a thing. So again, Eric Laurie, he's kind of taking the reins, but you can see he's got over a truck length between himself and the 99 of Robert Duvendak, because Robert doesn't want to throw his race away either, because again, these are all teammates. He knows that he's going to be a sitting duck with these guys, so he's got to save all the fuel he can. And yeah, here you go.
Coming in here, about 5 of them going to make their final pit stop. Only going to put in just enough fuel, I would think, to make it to the end. Sorry to interrupt, Gael, but this is the strategy. This is where this thing can change dramatically. Let's see how much time these Team Bootknocker guys make on them, and when they come back out, can they run those Team Bootknocker drivers down when they know they got enough fuel?
Yeah, because right now you see they hit the pit road. Here goes Bootknockers. They're passing them by right now on track. Obviously, you don't see it on screen. And there he goes, already rolling out of pit road. It looks like about a 6-second stop for Jay Hilliard, about 5.5 for Dean Wilkinson. But now the important thing is they don't have the organization. And unfortunately, a long pit stop for Derek Walker, 11 seconds, so he's going to lose these guys. So right now, it looks like it's going to be a 2-truck draft with Dean and Jay. Jason Adams just way too far back, so now it's going to be, do these guys react? Do they come in now and hit pit road? And it looks like the answer is going to be no, and I think that's going to, like you said, this is going to cost these lead pack drivers, because now they don't have the numbers that they needed Right now, Dean Wilkinson, he's sitting, like we talked about 12 to 13 seconds off of Eric Laurie and company there. So right now, even with the two of them, they probably will run faster than leaders, but again, that gap is going to wind up kind of not shrinking as quick as they'd like to. So for them to have their best chance to win this race, they need these guys to hit pit road sooner than later and then be able to then tag right back on with them, because unfortunately with those 5 that came in, only 2 got out together, and that's what's the heartbreaker for Dean Wilkinson and Jay Hilliard. They nailed their stops. Unfortunately, Jason Adams, Derek Walker did not have the stops that they were hoping for.
You've got to remember with those 2 drivers, they needed more fuel in the tank than the rest of these guys did.
That's true.
So they chose to pit with guys that needed more fuel. I would not have pitted with the 24 and the 20. Yes, you have numbers, but you got to remember, they might have forgot that those drivers were on an off-sequence strategy. So they were going to need another 5 to 7 more laps of fuel than the 55 and 59 did. So that is what's got them in this position now. And they are gaining some time, but it's just not enough as 2 cars. If they had 3 or 4 more cars with them, they could really give the Team Bootknocker guys a run for their money with 9 laps to go here. But, man, definitely interesting to see how this is all shaking out. And this lead pack, not really organized at all either.
And so here's the next question. Like I said, this is a big one here for Vicente. He's got to hustle out of pit road because we're going to watch off the back of that 14 truck. Here comes Dean. Here comes Jay. If he can get up to speed quick enough, he could tag onto these guys, and that could turn that 2-truck group into a 3-truck group. And like I said, that's going to be what's needed to win this race. But I'm watching lap times. Even by the 2 trucks, they were over 2 seconds a lot faster, Maxwell. They can still get there. This thing is not over. And honestly, it might be in DW's interest here to try to pick up Vicente here, but at the same time, they probably don't want to, because it's one less truck to have to try to fight off here. So right now, I don't think Vicente's going to grab onto him because he's already at a second back and growing. As JD Crow, he's dropped to the back of this group here. Tom Dixon continues to lead now with help from his teammate of James Mohan, who's a few laps down. He looks like Tom's just going to run this thing out as far as he can. And then, like I said, we got Eric Laurie still leading these guys up front here as we're down to 7 to go here, or sorry, 8 to go here as they cross the line. And talk about that gap. You know what? It's not a question. They're going to catch him, Maxwell. I don't think there's any way these TW drivers do not catch this main pack, because they are, again, 52-49, 54-13 for Tom Dixon, 54-84 for Robert Duvendak. I think these TW drivers, the 2-stopper is definitely the right choice here tonight. But we still have to get to the checkered here. So this is very interesting right now, as you can see. And once again, look at that. Robert Duvendak, Eric Laurie dropped out to the back. Robert said, I don't want to lead. I don't want to give up my fuel mileage. I got to make it to the end. You guys go right on by here. So that now puts Gabe Butler to the point. I mean, we talked about, you mentioned at the get-go, Gabe said, I want to pay my teammates back. Is this Gabe saying, all right, I'm going to take one for the team here. I'm going to lead us out, risk running out of fuel, and kind of lead us to hopefully to a victory, because I don't know if they're going to have the time, because we're down to it now. 7 to go. Tom Dixon still has yet to pit in that 411. But again, he will have to make one more pit stop here. The question mark is this pack right here. But I'm watching Dean Wilkinson. It is 4 seconds and closing from these guys to that group ahead here. So they are, again, that gap is continuing to shrink. But I'm watching Gabe, though, that they've picked up the pace in these trucks here. I think they realize this isn't going to work. We're going to do something different.
Absolutely. And, if they did make it the rest of the way on fuel, I would be just shocked. And I tell you, if they do make it to the end on fuel, these Team Bootknocker drivers, then we have learned something new about this fuel strategy, that they can go more than 20 or 21 laps if they so choose. And that will be very, very interesting to note as we go on into the rest of this season and the playoffs. But I noticed that on the ticker. As you see, the 411 is losing a lot of his lead that he had. This is not working in his favor, staying out. Don't know why he's staying out so long, because once he pits now, these Bootknocker guys are going to absolutely pass him now on pit road. And I doubt that he's making the speed he needs to be able to run with Dean Wilkinson and Jay Hilliard. I thought they were in trouble doing it by themselves. But I tell you what, I don't think those 2 cars are able to keep up with these Team Bootknocker guys now. They might have had telemetry. They might have known that this was their time. They might have known that they have enough fuel now. And that's going to be very interesting as we come here to 5 laps to go here in the race. When does this 411 need to pit? We know he's not going to be able to make it to the end, but how long does he stretch this out? And does that pack in the back get racy for some points and end up causing a crash that takes us into overtime? We'll have to wait and see, Gael, but it is 5 to go here at Talladega Superspeedway, and things are about to get interesting on this fuel mileage.
And you're spot on. Oh, and actually, I think trouble for Vicente Guerrero. Yeah, and there's the no caution, but there was a wreck there involving the '07 and I think the '08, the 14 on pit road. So there was an issue here during the pit stops. We'll go back and we'll try to take a look to see what happened. You can already see it actually occurring earlier. So let's go back a little further here. We'll try to take a look at it. Oh, and yeah, I think the Fort. Let me see. We'll go back once again. I'm not sure about this. Watch Vicente in the background. And oh, the '07 gets into the back of the '08 as they were trying to slow down, and that's what included Vicente. But like you just talked about the potential yellow, we stayed green. Tom Dixon still staying out, and Maxwell, he is backing that pace down a ton in that 411 truck. He's running 58-second laps right now. Gabe Butler and company, they have picked up their pace. They're running 52:20s right now. And unfortunately, that's kind of negated what Dean Wilkinson and Jay Hilliard are able to do because they're running about identical times here. So they have not been able to close that gap now. Actually, I'm sorry, 51:60. They're about Dean Wilkinson, Jay Hilliard about a second slower. So you're right. I think either they've decided, you know what, we've hit our number, we got to go, or they say at this point we just got to push here. And right now here's where all the jockeying begins here. Everybody's okay. Now where do we position our trucks here? Now do they stay behind the '07 Robert DuPont? No. Okay. So I think these guys said we can make it now. They backed it down. And now they said we can make it here, but who can someone play spoiler? Can Dan Harrington? Can the number 99 there of Robert Duvendack? Can he do something? And Eric Laurie, heartbreaker for him, coming to pit road with 3 laps to go. 3 laps to go. And here's Tom Dixon. I think he is also trying to do that stretch game, and now he's had to pick up his pace because he's seen now Kevin Freese, Dude Conrad. Here they come. Oh man, this has just turned into an outright strategy race, and it looks so good for TW, and now that's gone the wrong way. And now these guys making us look like they knew exactly what they could do all along here as we're down to it. 2.5 laps to go.
Eric Laurie pitting really makes me question, can these other guys still make 3 more laps around this racetrack? Gael, I don't think so. I don't think that these guys are going to be able to make it. I think they know it. I think they're hoping and praying that nobody else can make it. It may be who goes to the line to get this win tonight. But coming to 2 to go, we still see the 411 on track. It's amazing in itself that truck is still out here making laps. Notice he's picked up the pace a little bit where they were almost within 5 seconds of the 411. It is now stalled out as they've started to race here a little bit. And you know, Dean Wilkinson and Jay Hilliard, if a couple of those other guys can get out of that pack, they might have a shot to catch. But with 2 to go, they're pretty far back. I think a top 10 is about all they're looking at this evening. But with 2 to go, we see the 411 still on track and still looking like he's going to make his way around here. I can't believe it, Gael. What a race this is coming down to. Can they really make this amount of laps on this last run as we get ready coming out of turn 4? Here comes
here it comes. He's not gonna make it. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. Here he comes hitting pit road, coming to the white flag. I was hoping he could stretch. I was going to say he had 4 seconds to play with, but he hits pit road. That's a heartbreak for Tom. I'm so sorry. We were rooting for you to see that strategy happen. And now here comes the guys they've been saving all race long. We're on 2 to go. we're on the white flag here as Kevin Freese takes the point now with Dude Conrad right behind him. Gabe Butler sitting in 3rd. And we talked about, can someone spoiler it? It's got to be these 2 right here, Dan Harrington, Robert Duvendack. They're going to have to hook up together to have a chance. But look in front of Kevin Freese. He's got some draft help in front of him. I believe that is the '08 of Bob Fitzgerald. So he's going to have a little bit of extra momentum as they come down the back for the final time. And I say the 82 and the 99, if they want to have a chance, they got to work together. They're going to have to hook up with each other. But right now, it looks like Kevin Freese and Dude Conrad are going to try to set sail. But like I said, do they have the fuel out of 4?
He's got to run. Look at him on the outside. He wants 5 in a row. The 25
Kevin for the block.
And here goes Gabe up to the top, 3 wide. He's going to have the momentum. Can he do it? 5 in a row. Oh, and there's a crash right at the end. But I believe that's 5 races in a row for Gabe Butler. So much for helping the teammates here tonight. He gets the win here tonight over Dude Conrad and Kevin Freese. Wow, Team Bootknocker, Gael, made it to the end on fuel. On fumes, had to have been. Doubt we see any burnouts here, but what did we just witness, Gael?
We watched Gabe Butler at his finest. I thought he was out of it. He was leading for a little while as well, and then he's, like you said, coming out of 4. He said, screw this. I'm going for the win here, boys. You guys figure out where you want to go. I know where I'm going to go. He got the push he needed from Dan Harrington. Chris Matthews already chiming in. He cannot believe this. 5 in a row for this number 1 truck. And yeah, he is coasting here. They ran their field number 2 perfection. Let's go back here. Let's take one more look to run through the start-finish line here. You see the 25. He blocked the 1. The 1 goes higher. The 82 actually jumps to the 1 truck here, thinking that might be his best chance. You watch the 5 as well going to the top side as well with Kevin Freeze. Actually, I wonder if Kevin Freeze maybe sputters here because it seems like the way everybody drops him, and there's Kevin trying to do a little side draft there, maybe a little contact, and Gabe Butler even rubbing the wall a tiny bit. And look at Robert Duvendeck. Didn't even see this. These guys going about 4 wide here, trying to get across for about 2nd through 5th here. But yeah, Gabe Butler crosses line first, then the 5 and the 25, 82 go over. Robert Duvendeck sneaks by in that top 5. And then J.D. Crow, unfortunately, also in that, finishes in 6th. And then Heartbreaker, I thought they had it in the bag here. Dean Wilkinson, Jay Hilliard. But like I said, the Boondockers, they backed their pace down so much where it looked like it was all but over. And then with about 5 to go, they turned the wick up here. And man, I've never seen these guys do what they did tonight. And that's what makes them so difficult to beat, is they can do it in so many different ways. And tonight it was all about that fuel strategy. They played it from the get-go, and they played it to perfection.
Absolutely, Guile. I've normally got a lot to talk about. Normally I can speak a lot of words, but I'm speechless at what I just witnessed. I don't think I have watched a plate race here on iRacing come down to such tight fuel numbers, such tight strategy, and a group that was 15, almost 20 seconds back, mow down the front pack after saving fuel and make it the amount of laps they did. Do we have a number, Guile, on how long those guys went on fuel?
I think it was 22 laps, if I'm not mistaken. I think they pitted with 22 to go, or coming to 22 to go. So I think both stints were 22.
23 to go, coming to 22 to go, right?
I believe so. So you know what we're going to do, though? When you get the teammates running 1, 2, 3, there's only one thing we can do, and that is to grab all 3 of them together, let them kind of have a chat with us all in one shot. Let's pull up our 3 finishers tonight, our top 3 finishers, I should say. So I got to work on grabbing them. All right, Maxwell. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our top 3 because, again, they're all part of that same Bootknocker organization. And we're going to back it down here to that final lap so we can kind of get a word from all 3 of them because, man, I was skeptical. I thought then okay, yeah, they're doing it. Then they back off like, man, I don't know. And then the 5 to go, like I said, they turn the wick up and they let it have it. So Gabe, dude, Kevin, I mean, amazing job. I'm sure this was probably one of the most dedicated and committed you had to be to a strategy to make it to the end of one more stop. We were both doubting you at times, and then we thought you had it, then we doubted you again, and then we, like I said, 5 to go or so, we just saw kind of the wick turned up, but it was the who didn't want to lead. Like, nobody wanted to lead, so it's like, okay, well, who's going to take one for the team, basically. Unfortunately, it kind of looks like Eric Laurie may have been the one in the wrong spot there at the end of that one, having to hit pit road late. But then you had some competition. You had Robert Duvendeck. You had Dan Harrington. A couple times they got put in the position to lead, and they say, no, you guys go right back on ahead. And I mean, it was just, it was a very wild one to see. And at what point was it just the field number you're watching, or were you watching TW Motorsports, Dean and Jay, watching them catch you? I mean, Kevin, we'll start with you being our 3rd place finisher tonight. I mean, how did you kind of balance the fuel savings versus the aggression versus just, I mean, yeah, and take us through how you guys got through that tonight.
Oh, fuel races, first of all, are absolute. They're just miserable because you just can't race. You have to stay in line. But once I knew the number that we needed to hit per lap to make it so we didn't get to that 0.2 mark where you start losing fuel pressure and drop like a rock. And once I hit that, it was go time. I was watching them come out of the pits. They were 12 seconds initially, and then they broke it down, I think, to 4.8 or 4.9. And they had the run, so we just had to get organized and push. But man, fuel mileage racing is just not fun.
Sucks.
Well, it
We
was
don't want
exciting.
TW to do nothing ever.
Well, it was exciting for us, though. I mean, I'd say because we didn't know. I mean, again, you guys have kind of the computers and stuff that'll kind of give you the numbers you need to aim for, and we had no guess. And then we get off of turn number 4, and I say it looked like so you guys kind of decided, you know what, all bets are off here to come into the checkered. Let's say, Kevin, you were with Dude there. You see Gabe make the big push to the top. You block that one, he goes higher, and then unfortunately, you say you kind of wind up all by your lonesome coming to the checkered there. I mean, was that kind of the discussion? It's like, hey, once we get out of 4, we know we're good to the end. Just we'll see who can make the right move at the right time. Or I mean, what was the strategy there on that final lap?
No, I was a little surprised, and then I saw the gap back, and I knew they were going to have a big run, and the big run came out of 4 there, and if I don't go up, it's not even close, and then getting turned when I managed to stay out of all the craziness that happened that turned it into a fuel mileage race. It's just kind of frustrating finish.
Yeah, unfortunately, everybody's spinning across the line there at the end, and so dude, I say Maxwell mentioned, I say kind of more of a part-time driver lately over the seasons. I say not sure if maybe work commitments. I know computers have been a bit of a difficulty for you as well, but able to jump in, run the race out tonight here, and obviously, like I said, you're not the fuel mileage fan either in that number 8 truck, but I mean, you made it work as well, and I mean, how do you kind of balance? Like, was it a calculated risk, like, yeah, we can make it to the end? Or I mean, was there any discussions like, hey, why don't we split it up, or maybe one of us kind of pits early, we just go full send? Or I mean, how do you kind of decide as a team what's the right way to go tonight?
Well, me and Kevin was kind of watching the way, laying back a little bit, I guess. And I at no point did I think we was ever gonna make it. Not once. Kevin said, "Yeah, we're gonna make it. Calm down. We're gonna make it." I hate this stuff. Matter of fact, if you watch me come off pit road, I slammed the brakes. I was going to the back because I'm not any good at this. But Kevin said saying we was gonna make it, so I believed him, and we did. But I don't know how. Not one time did my little sim racing app say we had gas. It said 5 laps short. I was just riding with Kevin there for at the end. I was committed to the bottom. I didn't know it surprised me he went up there, but he like you said, he had to try to block the momentum. And I thought maybe he'd come down. I didn't know. I was like in La La Land. I hate fuel mileage racing. Tired, sleepy.
Yeah.
TW, what's wrong with you?
It was fun. I mean, like I said, Max and I, we didn't know. Like I said, we were just guessing at that point.
Did Maxwell still up there?
Yeah, Maxwell's still here, so I think he's probably got a few things to chime in with you guys as well. So, Maxwell, I don't know if you want to quiz our second and third place finishers here before we switch over to Mr. 5-time here in just a moment.
Well, I do know I do got a question for old dude Conrad here. I talked in the broadcast how I've gotten to race with you a while back, and you kind of taught me a few things, whether you know it or not, about restrictor plate racing. And seeing this second place finish you got here tonight, I'm not surprised. Glad to see you're able to make all the laps. But my question is, what are you doing letting that Gabe Butler guy get another win? I thought you was going to put that bumper in front of him and keep him behind you this time.
Oh, no. Him, Kevin, Eric Laurie, them guys are safe from that stuff. They've pushed me to plenty. Kevin's pushed me to several official wins. God can pull me off their bumpers. I can't do that. But hey, I could do it to you.
I understand. Well, man, great second place finish for you here tonight. Kevin, great third place finish for you. But Gael, I think it's time that we talk to the Dominator, I guess is what we're going to call him. 5 straight wins here in a row, Gabe Butler. So, Gael, I'll go ahead and let you lead this one off. We got to see how this man pulled this off here tonight.
Yeah, pull up our race winner tonight, Gabe. And like I said, we talked about pushing in teammates, may try to be work with your guys there at the end, but was that just too good of a momentum shift out of 4 to pass up on? Or, I mean, take us through, because like I said, I mean, that was a great move. You guys were able to get that push you needed there at the end by Dan Harrington. But man, just again, any different way, it can be outright pace. It can be the pit strategies on pit road, and tonight fuel mileage on the pit strategy side of things. I mean, we looked back, we're not sure if anybody's ever had 4 wins in a row. Now you're going to make it 5 in a row. I mean, like I said, obviously still a long ways to go in the championship hunt. Say because we got to get 3 more before we get to those final 4 races. But I mean, just take us to the race through obviously the kind of the chaos initially. Watch you kind of pick your way through some of those incidents, and then we get that caution that comes out right at the edge of that one stopper to the end. I mean, just take us through your night and then that move to get the win tonight.
Well, I mean, the cautions fell the way they did, and that made it a few mileage race. Which, like Dude and Kevin, they're kind of miserable. They really are, because you got to get in line, you got to throttle it and clutch it and turn your engine on and off and all that. So it's kind of boring. But at the end there, I didn't think I was going to make it because I was going between 0 and a tenth short. And the reason why I moved up was to actually have room to get it out of the way. And then Kevin moved up. And then I moved to the third lane because honestly, I thought I was going to run out of gas before the start finish line, which I actually did. But Dan moved up behind me too, and that kind of caused the mess at the end there because I did actually run out of gas. So basically, that move to the third lane was really to get out of the way. But then Dan followed me and pushed me on through.
Man, I say when everything goes your way tonight, Max, I think that's probably the way you can put that one. It's like, oh yeah, I was just trying to get out of the way so I didn't run out of fuel, and I wound up with the win somehow. Well, I would say maybe go pick up a couple lottery tickets if they're not close. I know it's not the big $1 billion one anymore, but say it might be worth a couple bucks thrown at it to go your way, because I mean I think that's one of the craziest ways I've heard of someone getting a win, was thinking you're going to run out, so you're trying to be nice and jump out of the way to avoid a wreck, and then get the push to get the win, Max. So I don't know about you, man.
I know what it is, Gil. I know what it is. He painted his truck like Larry Yingling. That's what it is. Gotta be.
Oh, the Larry Yingling's powers. You might be right, man.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna go there, but if I could drive half as good as Yingling, then I'd win 12 in a row. But that ain't happening anytime soon. But yeah, if you listen to my truck, you can tell I ran out of gas. So, I mean, I kind of knew it was going to happen. So again, that's why I was kind of getting out of the way. But like you said, get that horseshoe so far up there, I guess, that's what happens.
So what we're hearing, Gael, is he went from coming into this race just to help his teammates to whipping out into the third lane to steal yet another win from them right there at the end. No, I'm just aggravating you, Gabe. I understand. Sometimes we just get fortunate and get lucky, and it sounds like tonight, along with the last 4 weeks, have been your night. So, interesting to say, Gael, I think we have officially set a record for most consecutive wins in a single series here with 5 in a row with Gabe Butler. That's across any Area 51 series. But, Gabe, I want to put it to you this way. You won the last 2 of last season, so that's 7 truck races in a row that Area 51 has run officially that you have won. That is an insane number. So my question is, are you going to let anybody else win a race this season, or are you just going to win all 12 and just walk away with another championship?
I think I'm just going to quit and call it a day while I'm ahead before it all goes south.
Your ass. You're going back in here.
Well, I'll say before we let you guys go have some fun here, we got to definitely give all of you the floor, because like I said, you guys just, the dedication, like I said, it may have not been fun, but I mean, you stuck with it, you did it to perfection. So Kevin, will kick it off with you, sir, for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight, because like I said, unfortunately, like I said, the way you crossed the start finish line, that wasn't what you're hoping for, but I mean, just a great result tonight in that number 25, and definitely want to give you the floor here.
Yeah, huge thank you to you guys for the broadcast, the admins. I know tonight was probably not a very fun night for the admins with that little spurt that went on there that created some of the problems, and thanks to the teammates.
All right, dude, over to you, sir.
Oh, just a pleasure to be with these guys. We've been through some hard times and some good times. This some of the good times. Just to be able to come in here out of the blue and finish second. All credit to the team.
All right, and Mr. So we're going to have to go Mr. 5-time, I think, for now. Or Mr. Horseshoe. I'm not sure which you prefer there, Gabe, but floor here for any thanks shouts for that win tonight, man.
Just a shout out to the team as usual. I mean, again, I mean, I was, myself, Eric, and JD were in a separate room from Dude and Kevin, so we were trying to eyeball each other to figure out what we're doing, and so we ended up with the win, just luckily. But shout out to Area 51, of course, and of course you guys for putting on your super broadcast as usual, fellas.
All right, man. Well, we'll let you go celebrate, get those lottery tickets, or say go do some X-rays for that horseshoe or something. I'm not sure what you want to do there, man. But go and enjoy this one, Gabe. Like I said, just wild to get the 5 in a row. I already passed the info over to Chris Matthews, and he's already regretting his life decisions on that one. So he's working on the video. He said he's working on getting the video up of the 40 push-ups from last week. So I'm not sure what he committed to. If he committed to 50 now, or if he's going to double it to the 80 or not. So either way, he's going to have some sore upper body strength after tonight's win as well, man. So great job though, Gabe. Go enjoy this one, man. Just awesome job tonight.
All right, fellas, I appreciate it.
Maxwell, you know what we got to do here? Let's hop on board. We'll go at speed here for that number 1 truck of Gabe Butler. We're gonna listen and see if we hear that sputter like he talks about, because right now we're out of 3 and 4 now, coming to the checkered. So we're on board with this 1 truck, and let's listen in here and see if we can hear that sputter he's talking about. Oh yeah, at the very you can see right there the tech. You see the tech kind of fluttering there, and yeah. So he probably timed it to just about perfection there. And then number 1 truck of when that thing was going to start sputtering out of fuel. But like I said, the moves he made, even if it's moves to try to get out of the way, I mean, those look like race-winning moves to try to win a race, intentionally or unintentionally. Just might be one of those things where even if you're you're just trying to get out of the way. Just when you're someone like Gabe who's won 4 in a row, it's like, well, I think he's going to be trying to make it 5 in a row, so I got to block this. So what a wild one tonight, though, Max. Like they mentioned as well, just a lot of carnage early on, unfortunately, that really kind of shook up the race, shook up some of the drivers' track positions, and it unfortunately affected the outcome of a lot of guys. But then we had that long 40-plus lap run to the end, and just wild decisions. Two 1-stop, 2 stops, with one being a splash. And like I said, Dean and them, they got close, but then like I said, those guys decided they hit their number and they kind of turned that wick back up. Like he talked about, you used to see them run really fast lap times, and that's exactly what they did in those closing 5 laps.
Absolutely. I knew those guys wouldn't fall that far off the pack, and I believe I called that middle of that run that I didn't believe those guys were going to fall that far off without having some sort of plan and strategy. There was too many of them for them to be that far off of the lead pack. So definitely knew more than I knew. Like I said, these guys have taught me a lot about plate racing, and they're showing me that there's still a lot that I don't know. So these guys have it down to a science, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So these guys definitely knew what they were doing tonight, pulled the strategy off to perfection to start sputtering at the start-finish line. That's all the fuel you need. You don't need any more than regulation, right? But if we ever had a green-white checkered in that was going to get real crazy with the pit stops real quick. But after tonight's finish, Gaio, I guess we need to go ahead and look at our finishing results here tonight, don't you think?
Yes, we do. So let's pull those up right now as we're watching that 1 truck coast down the start-finish line as Gabe Butler getting the win by just under a 1/10 of a second over Dude Conrad, and then Kevin Freeze bringing it home in 3rd. And then there's those 2 drivers that tried to break up the party, Dan Harrington, Robert Duvendak. They did get 4th and 5th, but unfortunately couldn't find a way to break those top 3. Then JD Crow in the 6th position of those that were able to make it to the end on fuel. Then you got Dean Wilkinson, Jay Healyard that went with that short pit strategy. Unfortunately, they lost the help that I think could have, if they had those 4 trucks, maybe it would be a different story if they could have actually got to those boot knockers before they turned the wick back up. And then you got Derek Walker, Jason Adams, who again also had to make lengthier pit stops who round out our top 10. And then,
can I say that those 2 guys really pulled off some miracles? Remember, Jason Adams, we thought was out of it when he went a lap down and, had those issues on pit road and came back to get back on the lead lap and finish top 10. Kudos to those guys for that. Sorry about that. I just wanted to give them a shout out here on the broadcast.
Exactly right. No, great job committing, and like I said, they never gave up. They kept after, and like I said, they have top 10s to show for it. And then I think probably teammate of the night tonight goes to Eric Laurie. They're kind of having to be that sacrificial lamb, leading so many laps, having to hit pit road, winds up in 11th. and then just not the nights they're looking for Tom Dixon. Vicente Guerrero, we saw him get caught up in that pit stop miscue that just was in the wrong place, wrong time. That could have been the yellow that we were worried about, but stayed green there. And then you got Robert Jordan, and then unfortunately those that didn't have the nights they're looking for. So we got Robert and Bob here, 14th through 16th. Robert DuPont, Bob Fitzgerald. Then you got James Mohan, Guy Bracco in 18th. And that finished things off here towards the rest with Randy Miner, Bud Steele, David Bond, and Andy Brigante in 22nd position. So, yeah, Maxwell, this was a wild one tonight. Like I said, the fuel mileage, all the strategies that were going on, and then the cautions in the early middle portions of the race, and then at the end, I mean, it was, like I said, it was basically what's the right decision to make at the end, who's going to be making the right calls, and it looked nip and tuck there for a while. I won't lie, I did doubt the boot knockers that they'd be able to make that mileage to the end, but they did just in time because, like I said, I think 2 more laps probably, and TW's there, and they could definitely throw a whole wrench into that thing, so they timed it just about to perfection. So, man, these guys they find ways to win that you wouldn't see it happening, and that's what makes them so good.
Absolutely. I think I said toward the end that, we thought Team Bootknocker was out of it. But I also said that, I've seen crazier things and I've seen them pull off stuff in the past, not to really root them out just yet, and we'd be dumb too. And we saw that tonight. Their strategy was the winning one, where everybody else had to make that second stop. But, Gael, they might have showed their hand a little too quick here in this Area 51 series, because now guess what? As we go into the playoffs, these guys know that they can make it an extra lap than we've seen all season long. Isn't that going to be interesting when it comes to fuel strategies, right? And being able to make it to the end on fuel when it comes time. So these guys thought they were saving fuel, but yet they've seen a whole new level of fuel save that could be very beneficial as we go into these last 3 races of the regular season.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what's going to be fun about it, though, is it's going to be, like I said, do they learn from it? Or at the same time, like I said, unfortunately, the short pit strategy from TW, it could have been perfect, but they just lost 2 of the trucks that they needed to go out there, because I think with the 4 trucks, that pace is going to be that much faster, and I think they would have had a really good chance at it, too. So I think attrition played a big role as well in the outcome. So yeah, it's one of those, I mean, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but I think both ways would have been valid ways to win tonight. Just tonight was the fuel saving was the way to go. So yeah, so like I said, a great job by all these guys once everything got settled in. So a really fun one tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. Maxwell, as always, it's a pleasure to do these with you, man. Looking forward to getting back in the booth with you again here next week. And, of course, we'll be back on Sunday night for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series, so keep an eye on that. And then we can switch back to Monday for the Indy 79 Lotus machines over there. Again, not broadcast, but just a fun series, so definitely if you're interested, check that out. And then back to Area 51 IR18s on Tuesday night here on Greenlight Checker TV. So until then, happy Friday Eve. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend here coming up soon. And as always, of course, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all on Sunday night.